All right. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Spark XM podcast. I'm your host, John Breitfelder, and I am so excited to bring you guys another episode. Today, I have with me a very special guest. His name is Josh Javaheri. He is a super accomplished gaming founder. He's, in my opinion, one of the most disruptive gaming founders of the last decade. All these things he's done with Lucky, he's the founder of Lucky Day Games, and he's accomplished so much. He's done it in an innovative way. And I am so excited to have you, Josh, to share some of your stories and give these kids some insight. Thank you so much for being with us.
100%. Hopefully I can share some good.
Yeah, definitely. So I met you in Anthony Borquez's class. That's BAEP 465. It's my favorite class by far that I've taken this year. Honestly, my favorite class I've ever taken in college. It's been really cool. So yeah, you spoke in the class. You gave us some great stories. What did you learn from Anthony as a mentor? What did you learn in your time at USC? And how did that get you to where you are today?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say one thing. I think it wasn't just in Anthony's class, but just I don't think I could took like one thing from one class and that was like a defining thing. I think it was just the environment around pretty, I think, competitive environment where a lot of people uh, were just looking to do things that mattered. And I think just in my own community where I grew up, everyone from the time I was born was always like trying to be successful in their own way, right? They were trying to find a purpose. They were trying to provide for their families, and they were just looking to just do the best they could in whatever they spent their time on. So I sort of just learned from the environment of just trying to just be successful and give it my best in whatever I spend my time on. I think when I went into Anthony's class, Anthony was just someone who I think in his own right has had a lot of success.
Yeah.
And he just always approached things with an open mindset of like anything is possible and just try and experiment. And I think that mindset of experimentation and trying, it just created room to just make mistakes and just continue from there. And it's fine. And like, let's keep it going.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like for me, my favorite class so far, and like I told you this earlier, but like I've always wanted to be a founder, and I've always felt like I've had like this creative skill set, but I've never quite had the idea yet. And you fall into these traps as like someone who wants to do it. You fall into these traps of like finding a tar pit idea, like where you find like you find a solution that doesn't actually solve a problem,
Yeah,
and it takes a lot of work to get past that. But in Anthony's class right now, I think I've me and my team has found a real idea and something that we're working on. Hopefully, we're going to pursue. So,
awesome.
if you could take me in for Lucky Day, you could take me in. Step back into your shoes when you were, was it 2014, 2015, was it?
Sure. Yes. When I was in
Yeah.
college.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you were in college, when you were founding this thing, take me into what was your goal? What was your vision for the project? Did you have any idea that it would become as successful as it is today? Tell me all about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I always envisioned myself finding success. I don't think I was ever clear on what it would be. I just like, I always just believe like whatever I do, I will do it the best, or I will find something that I can be the best at, and I'll just keep searching for that. So it wasn't like Lucky Day was like the be all end all. It was like, hey, this seems interesting. Let me just work on it. And like ever since I started working on it, I just kept finding more fascinating things to work on within it, and I just kept pursuing it. So it wasn't like a master grand plan. It was like, hey,
No.
let's like this is interesting. Like, I want to build this. I want to see how customers react. And then ever since then, it was just been like, hey, let's keep building because like customers seem to like this. Like, let's keep delivering this value. I had no idea that the products would be what they were today when I first started. But what I did know is like I wanted to work with amazing people, right? I wanted to have a great set of investors and advisors around me. I want to be working on in an area that I'm learning every single day, and I'm constantly pushing myself to evolve as an entrepreneur. So I think those things I knew. The exact specifics, obviously, you have no idea, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's also something I took away when like being around people like Anthony is like you just need to like build the right tool set in your toolkit and just apply them to the opportunity in front of you, right? So that opportunity didn't really matter, right? I could switch gaming for another software business or another non-software business, and uh, probably 90% of those learnings could be reapplied. the business itself and the customer needs and wants are different, and you have to tailor the product to that. But wanting to hire the best people, wanting to work with the best partners, wanting to get the best investors on board, I think those things would apply regardless of the business.
Yeah. And one, I mean, there were a bunch of things I loved about, your lecture in class. One of them was, I asked you this question in class too, and I was like, with my personal experience, it's like, how do you come up with a startup idea? Coming up with a startup idea is so hard. And you can see different articles like Paul Graham's that, like, if you want to really go nitty gritty and find stuff like that, like you can find Paul Graham's essay where it's just like, you want to find a small demographic and then you want to basically 10x their experience as opposed to finding a larger TAM right off the bat and then like giving them something that like they care about but marginal. Like that never works. That's something that I've kind of learned. But I was talking to you in class about like how'd you come up with your idea and like how do you recommend other people to? And I thought it was really funny. You were just like, I don't really care about macro trends. You're like, I thought that was really cool. Like, what's
Yeah.
your perspective with coming up with ideas? Because I do kind of feel like it's a balance between personal passion. Like you got to find something
Yeah.
that you love, but you also need to find a market opportunity. For you, how do you come across your ideas and develop
Yeah.
and build?
I think, and like I think an idea can come from looking at things from a macro standpoint. I think ideas can come from looking at things from a micro standpoint. I think ideas can come from like what is it that you're doing in your daily routine that you think could be done better or that you're interested in. I think ideas can come from seeing other products, right? So I think ideas can come from a lot of areas. I think what's important is just like when you have an idea, don't like assign too much value to it. Just like quickly
Yeah.
understand where can it go and like does it make sense? And if it makes sense and you have conviction, keep going. If not, like go to the next idea. I think it's not about like finding an idea. I think we all have lots of ideas. It's picking the right idea to, I think, double, triple, quadruple down on and spend all your time thinking about. And the sooner I think you can like eliminate the bad ideas and focus on the right concepts and then iterate from there on that idea based on your learnings, the sooner you'll find success. So I always say it's more important to know when to move away from an idea and where to invest your time, right? Because we only have one life and like a certain amount of time, and there's plenty of things that we can spend our time on. Knowing where to focus your energy, I think, is actually the most important decision versus finding the right idea. Because there are ideas out there, right?
Yeah.
You have to also see what's a good fit for you as a person, right? Like for me, maybe like I think it's a great idea to figure out how to like what Elon Musk is doing with SpaceX, right? That seems incredible, but like, do I feel like I have like the best like do I feel confident enough that I want to go and like double down all my time there? I'm probably not
Exactly.
gonna be the best at that, right? And maybe that's not where I want to spend all my time all day. So it always still has to fit, I think, your personality and what you want to work on every single day.
Exactly. Anthony always tells us it's just like, if like your first idea does not necessarily have to be perfect.
Yeah,
And when we're doing this project in class, I think he gives us intentionally like a short time frame to get your first idea and just like start developing it. And it's
yeah,
intentionally short and you're supposed to be scrappy, quick. But it's really hard to be a perfectionist with your first idea because he encourages you to pivot so many times. You know, the guest speaker who came in a couple weeks after you, or it was last week, he was another gaming founder and he basically created the like he combined fashion streetwear with gaming and he basically made like designer keyboards and turned that into the sneakers, that asset of gaming where you could kind of put your personal touch on it. But before he sold to I think it was 100 Thieves and had a great exit, before that point he had to pivot. He said 12 times. Like this sport that we play is so hard and you gotta work at it. Another thing I'm really curious about with you and doing a little bit more homework on you and building out Lucky Day, like I think it was so interesting. How did you get considered as a sweepstakes, not a gambling platform? And like I just find that so interesting. Like go a little bit more into like Lucky Day V1 and how that product came to be with like no money in, but you can win real money and you integrate the ads in a cool way. So how did that work?
yeah. I think just following the law, like
Yeah.
I think like there's a really clear definition for what a sweepstakes is and a really clear definition for what a gambling is. And I think we were just like wanting to be very clear from the upfront that like what we're gonna fall into, right? If you want it to be a casino company and a gambling company, I think there's like really clear guidelines and like how to do that. But that wasn't what we ever wanted to do or what we ever wanted to build. We wanted to build things that were more accessible and gave the opportunity for players to come in and play without having to spend tens of thousands or millions of dollars to be
Yeah.
entertained. So we were very clear about that upfront, not just in accordance with like laws, but like in accordance with like the value we wanted to deliver our customers. So that was pretty straightforward from like day one. And the ad monetization was just in order to find a way to give that value to customers and create an alternative method of entry. Ads seemed to be the best win-win scenario at that time, right? I think ads have a lot of pros and cons, and they deliver value for a certain customer. And at that time, it made a lot of sense, and that's why we went forward with it.
I mean, I thought the business model, like, it was so disruptive at its time. Like, no one else was doing it. Like, free to play where you could win real money. It just all like it seems. I don't want to say too good to be true, but it seemed like, oh my gosh, like this has never been done before. So that's so cool. And then another thing you touched on in your lecture is you told us that you got kicked off the App Store. You know, go into a little bit more of like, so you reached this high of having this one of one super disruptive first of its kind game, and then you get kicked off the App Store. Like, with that failure, how did you deal with that, and how did you respond into building Lucky Day V2, which is crushing it today?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a believer in a higher power, like in God. So I think for me, just I take every like obviously there's certain things like you hate that they happen, but I just looked at it as an opportunity to reinvent ourselves and like let's say we were starting fresh today with a fresh perspective, understanding our customer, like what would we build all over again? And I think we just looked at it from that perspective. So as much as like it sucked and it was painful, we looked at this as like an opportunity to be better, right? Like how can we just be better and like be better for customers, deliver better products, and build something that we're going to be very proud to have worked on over the next multi-decade time frame, you know? So we just saw it as an opportunity and we saw it as a way to reevaluate everything that we've done up to that point. Obviously, we would have loved to have done that while not being kicked off the App Store, but when you're playing on someone else's platform, they make the rules, right? So the other thing is like we wanted to make sure moving forward we were going to be aligned with platforms and in spaces that platforms have given very clear thumbs up and guidelines to. Like as much as it's fun to like do something that's on your own, it's much nicer to be the biggest player in a big market where there's other players as well, and like platforms and regulators have given thumbs up to. So I've just always tried to be aligned with those principles so that if I'm building and I'm building for the long term, I know that I'm building in alignment with those larger officials, right? So that's the approach we took this time. So that we knew the investments we're making would be around for decades to come. And it's been, I would say, a much harder route because we've had to build from scratch. We've had to invest for years, and it's obviously been a lot more expensive. But I'm very optimistic that the fruits of those will be much larger over the longer term. Uh, and for me, I'm looking to build I think a compounding business that can be around for decades, not for a short time frame.
Totally. Now, speaking to these future decades, like, how do you see the gaming industry and how do you see your business changing? Like,
Yeah.
is there any potential pivots that you want to see? Like, Anthony shows us all these really cool things of like Web3 games, where you can almost like you have rewards that you can earn in the game that are also tradable outside of the game. Like
Yes.
different
Yeah.
things like that. Like we see these cool trends. Do you see yourself sticking on this consistent path or trying something new on top of it?
Yeah, I think it's all about what the customer wants, right? So we have tons of ideas internally, but at the end of the day, each of these ideas are like we need to see some sort of evidence that like a customer will value this, use it, and and we'll see a long-term impact and benefit from it, right? Otherwise, like it's just a cool idea. So it's all about the customer and seeing like where do they want to go, what are the opportunities and levers of entertainment they want to see us deliver to them, and we'll build it, right? Like building it in any of these spheres is not a problem at all. The key question again is like, will a customer like use it, want it, and value it? So if the customer doesn't care about it, there's no point to go that direction, at least in how we think about it, because there are so many obvious opportunities in front of us right now where we know if we build it, like customers will use it and value it, and it'll show up in the long term gains of the business, and we're focused on those opportunities today.
I thought it was pretty funny when you said your target demographic was older moms, older dads, and grandparents, like people a little older
Yeah,
on your app. And that was really interesting. Like, did you expect that that was going to be your target audience when you're developing a mobile game? Or did it kind of just like
yeah.
fall into it and you're just like, these guys love my products, like, let's continue to serve them? How did that work?
I mean, I think if you look at like the majority of the top grossing apps, it's probably the older audience, older skewing audience that's the bigger spenders, just because they have more disposable income. They also have more times, and maybe they're a little bit more day, so they're looking for that entertainment. So I think it definitely makes sense. I also think younger audiences do, of course, they love games, but maybe they don't have as much disposable income, or they're looking for a very specific way to spend their time, or a specific type of entertainment. So we love our audience. We love the players who enjoy our game, and we want to keep entertaining them, right? We think players that have kids or are now grandparents, their time should also feel amazing. And if we can build great entertainment experiences for them, like, we're going to continue to do it. So we love our audience, and I think over time our audience will broaden out, right? And we'll start to attract younger audiences. But today, those younger audiences, like I said, they have other options that they prefer for their
Fortnite.
time, and that's fine, you know.
Yeah, Clash of Clans, Fortnite, and those
Yeah.
different things. How exactly did you pivot to Lucky Day V2 once you got back on the App Store? What was the technical difference?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a whole different product offering. Same idea of like playing casual games and trying to win real money,
Yeah,
but taking a lot of the lessons from our customers, right? Like, they've shared like, hey, we want to have more control over our outcome, right? We want to have skill be the primary component of the game, right?
yeah.
Hey, we hate ads, and just experimenting, right? And seeing what works, and what fits this new model of skill-based games, and really bringing together that casual element of the gameplay and the real money aspect. And tournaments just naturally fit the customer's desires and wants, and fit that evolution of our product offering.
Are you taking money for for paid players, or is it still completely free?
Yeah, yeah. So we still offer like a free option, and the majority of our customers are still coming daily and like playing for free. But of course, our goal, I think, over time is to have a more premium offering. So we do also offer a paid option, which is used by a smaller portion of our customer base.
And no ads, right? So it's like it's kind of fully subsidizing the no ads, and that's what's
Yeah. No,
working.
we still offer an ad product, but
Okay.
it is optional, right? Like, there's no need to watch ads. It's optional if you
Yeah.
want to compete in certain offerings, but we try to offer the whole slate of features to the audience.
Yeah, totally. And honestly, like I will say this product is so good. Like I
Thank you.
just downloaded it last night and I've been playing and like it's addicting. It's like the TikTokification of like mobile games. I mean, it's quick. Like there aren't any breaks. It's like very fluid. I love it. And then, I see these games like Bingo, Solitaire, Blackjack. Like how would you distinguish yourself from like a traditional casino today?
Yeah, I think our whole mentality is like we are building like mobile first like entertainment experiences. Solitaire is a game that's been played for hundreds of years, so we just wanted to take the game that players know and love, and just add a twist to it, make it a lot more fun. And we think this new format of the tournament, and the quick 2 to 3 minute tournaments where you're playing against other players and just making it highly social is just more entertaining, right? The money also obviously adds another component of entertainment to it. But the whole idea is like, let's maximize that 20 minutes per day that you have to play games. And that's what we're trying to do in our products, right? Like, we want players to come here and have the most entertaining 20 minutes of their day, and enjoy it, and then come back the next day for another 20 minutes, right? Like, we don't want you to spend 8 hours on our games, right? We want to just give you that
Yeah,
20-minute entertainment experience
exactly.
throughout your day. So that's it. And we're just building products that also we love to play, right? Like, we enjoy playing the games, and we're constantly building new features and new elements that we as players want to experience, and that we think that our audience will enjoy playing with as well.
I have an idea for you. Have you ever heard of Monopoly Poker, that
Tell
mobile
me.
app? Okay, honestly, my friend, I don't need to pull it up now, but my friend put me onto this game like
Oh,
last
Monopoly Poker.
year.
Yes, yes, yes,
Monopoly
yes, yes,
Poker, it's a game, it's a mobile app,
yes.
And I will tell you, I do find this a little similar to the product that you have. Monopoly Poker is really good too. And although poker is traditionally a game where like you would sit down and play for a couple hours, or
Yes.
it's more of like a social aspect where you're sitting next to other people at the table. I think like I don't know if you'd ever be interested in like putting some sort of poker element in your game, but there are quick versions of this too. Like this is a little similar where you can do like quick spins and then
Yes.
cash games, all that. But it's like this is also no money. Like there's no real money involved. So
Yeah.
would
No,
you
this
ever
is
think of
awesome. I'll check it
adding
out
a poker
offline.
element? Yeah, I mean, it's a product that I love. I think it's kind of comparable to what you do. So if you'd ever be interested in
Yes.
like adding like a quicker, like TikTokified poker, then I
Yeah.
think
Okay. Awesome.
as a consumer that might be something that could be interesting.
And I think we definitely have plans for new games, but like I said, there's so many things to build. So
Yeah.
uh, we'll definitely get to that sooner rather than later.
Yeah. For my startup that I'm working on right now, we just brought in a couple co-founders and, we're going to need we're going to need a CTO soon and like developers. Do you find it like when you're developing a new game, like how hard is it to actually like, I feel like this stuff's way harder than we all expect as like
Yes.
non-technical, I guess, founders. Like, how hard is it for you, like communicating with technical founders, like working with technical founders, working together? Like, is it a lot? Is that process of coding and developing a lot longer
Yeah.
than you think? How do you do that?
Yeah, I think for like maybe when we first started, there's obviously those challenges, but I think once you find your flow, that's actually the not the hardest part. The hardest part is just prioritizing the right concepts, right? Like I said, same with good ideas. There's even within like the microcosm of a bigger organization, there's tons of ideas that we can execute on, and choosing the right ones to work on. That is actually the hardest part, not executing or building it. That's pretty straightforward. And like once you like know how to execute on various ideas, it becomes like the same routine, right? So that's a straightforward product development process. But choosing the right ideas to work on are consequential, because if you choose the wrong idea, that's months of development that's lost in
Oh,
something that
it's time, money wasted. Oh, yeah.
so that is by far, I think, the hardest part of what we do every day is choosing the right things to focus engineers on, because there are a limited number of engineers and an abundant amount of ideas. So that's what we're constantly thinking about, is what do we prioritize.
Yeah. Sports betting's been legal for a couple years now. What are your thoughts on the sports betting industry as a whole? Could you ever see yourself diversifying into that too?
Yeah. I think like I love what we do, and there's like so many things I want to do within what we're doing today. So I think like we'll fall. I think the thing that I've constantly thought about is like real money gaming is a massive market, but each sector of it, like gambling versus sports betting versus what we do, which is like very much on the opposite end and closer to like traditional mobile gaming. Like what we're doing is way more similar to like a Candy Crush than it is to
Yeah,
sports betting. So
exactly.
sports betting is a completely different arena with its own set of rules and a completely different audience. So we would think about what's best for our audience and what offering would they enjoy, because we want to build an ecosystem around our customer base, right? Like and focusing on them and delivering value to them, because like they're an awesome audience, and like there's so many additional products and entertainment features that we think they would enjoy and find value in. So doubling down on their wants and desires is our focus, versus like going into something that's, I would say, a nice parallel, but with a completely different audience and a new set of learnings and rules. So sports betting, I think, is something that like we don't see as comparable to what we're doing today, but maybe a decade from now it could be, right. Or maybe there is some cross pollination opportunities, but today we're not really focused there at all.
Yeah, it's not what you guys do. Cool.
Yeah.
I watched an early interview from you, where it kind of like the V1 era of Lucky Day.
Yeah.
Are you still thinking of doing partnerships with like you said, like young brands like Lyft? Do you
Yeah,
still
not
see
not
that or
really,
no?
not really. Like our whole focus has become like just delivering great entertainment experiences to our audience, and we believe if we do that, they will pay for it. And the thing that I always tell other entrepreneurs is like focus on your best customers. Like I would rather have a few customers who love us that are spending a ton of money than have tons of customers that don't even want to spend a penny, right? Like if people value what you're building them and it's really entertaining and really valuable, like they'll pay for it. And like that's the best signal to know like what you're building is valuable. So for us, like we want to keep delivering great entertainment experiences. And if our customers love it, which we believe they will, like we believe they'll monetize it well and like it'll be a virtuous cycle. So that's the idea there, right? Like if you look at our products today, like players are spending like each purchase is like $20, right? So it's like buying lunch or buying a
Yeah.
coffee. So like it's not like they're spending millions of dollars, but like we're aiming to give them so much value for that $20 so that they can enjoy continuously spending that and spending more time in our world.
Yeah. Back to your earlier founder days, I remember some great stories from class where you're talking about, that rush when you got that first phone call and you raised your first round, you got
Yeah.
some funding and you're like, let's do this, I'm ready. And then also I remember that story of you're talking about you in your office, and then you had like two teams, two different projects, and you had like a partition in the middle of the office. Man, just tell me more about if you have any crazy, like scrappy stories from, yourself as an early founder.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wish I could remember it all. I've like so much happening daily, so I'm really focused, I think,
Yeah,
on what's happening today. So for me, my rush, I would say like my rush has completely changed. Like my rush comes right now from like doing those small things correctly every single day with the team and like being in our zone and like seeing that we're delivering products to our customers that like they love and like we see the metrics moving. Like that is where I get all my
yeah,
energy and rush from right now is like just consistently performing and like having great communication with the team, finding like new insights that we can act on, like execution, execution, execution. Like that is where I get my rush from every day, and just like looking for new areas and looking at things in from new perspectives. Right, we're always trying to better understand the user and how they're using our product, and like what we can do to better deliver value to them. Right, so that is, I think, where I get all my highs from right now, all my rushes from, and where I'm constantly searching for more opportunity.
yeah. As Lucky Day's grown, have you learned any lessons on leadership and running a team and working with people and uniting people behind a vision?
I think it's one word, authenticity. Like I think early on I was extremely authentic, and I think later on I was told I was being too authentic and I moved away from that for a short time frame. What's always worked for me is just like being raw and authentic in myself and like others being themselves, because like that creates, I think, the most comfortable and like energetic environment where people like want to bring their best to the table, and frankly just like also working with the best people that fit our culture and our personality, right? Like if we don't work well together, like no matter how much we try, it's just not going to work, right? So just it should just be a natural fit and it should naturally flow, and if it's forced, it's probably not going to be successful. So that's what I found from leadership is just like it should not it shouldn't be forced. It should be natural. It should be authentic, and you should just love the people you're working with.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, being mindful of your time here, I got another for you.
Yes.
Looking back at your time at USC and myself being a student and being in this class with other
Yeah.
like-minded kids, what advice would you leave us with? Kids in Spark or
One word. It's
yeah,
one word. Effort. I think I think you need to be willing to give tremendous fucking effort, tremendous amounts of effort, and I think like with tremendous effort, even if you make mistakes, you will win, right? It's just effort, and it's like not letting setbacks slow down that or like reduce your level of effort. I think it's just that it's effort and grit. Like they all
yeah,
mean the same thing, which is just like going as hard as you damn can. Like you want to work smart and hard. It working smart is not enough. It needs to be working smart and hard, setting that example, right? Like I want to be on it as long as hard as I can. And like when I need a break, I need to like invest in myself and like work out or rejuvenate, right?
for
Like
sure.
it's also realizing like you're in this for the long game. So if you're not feeling good, like prioritize feeling good and then go back to working hard as hell, right? I believe in like feeling great and working hard. Don't work hard and feel like crap. Like that's not
Yeah,
smart.
yeah,
Work hard, be consistent, but like if like know what makes you work your best and like find that sweet spot, find your zone and like kill it. Like for me, like I need to work out every day. I need to like go for a walk.
same.
I
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I need good sleep. Like those make me feel my best, and then I can like work as hard as I can and like be my
Yeah.
best version, But there's no replacement for hard work, right? And there's no replacement for a lot of effort.
Josh, thank you so much. You're a total inspiration to all these kids in the 465 class. But not only that, just like kids at SC who want to make it, kids at SC who maybe were born with a different skill set, kids
Yes.
who were born to be builders like myself and all these other kids. Your story is an inspiration. Thank you so much for, taking some time to talk to me. And I'm sure the rest of the entrepreneurship community will love this conversation. So thanks for all your insight, man. Let's do it. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Josh. All right. Appreciate it. Bye.